The Kings of the Hill, back down to earth. Coming up next, we'll see who gets crowned in Lima, Ohio. This is Trucks and Tractor Power featuring the All-Stars of the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the National Network. Today we come to you from the Allen County Fairgrounds in Lima, Ohio for the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee. There is a sea of change for all you monster truck fans. In addition to new trucks and new drivers, well, the best and the biggest name in the business is ushering in a brand new era. And here with more on that story is my sidekick, Army Armstrong.
You're exactly right, Gary, and as any kind of motorsport, change is the norm, and that's exactly what's happening now. A lot of new blood coming in the sport. We've got new drivers, we've got new trucks, but some of the old guard is getting moved around, too. Now, earlier in the day, I had a chance to talk to the old master himself, Bob Chandler, the Bigfoot fame, to find out why he's making some of the moves that he's making right now. It's almost like a chess game. This is what he had to say.
Well, we want to keep racing, monster truck racing, going ahead. And Bigfoot organization, we've actually taken Jim Kramer out of driving a couple of years ago. He's in management. Andy Brass right now is our top driver. He won the series last year. We moved him into an R&D truck, Wildfoot we're calling it. And that's the newest Bigfoot vehicle, Bigfoot race team vehicle. And we've brought Gene Patterson, who has been driving Bigfoot's trucks in the past, moved him up to the second position. He's driving Bigfoot this year. So we're making changes just to see what's going to happen. It's a test. The new truck here is a test. We're going to see how it works out. So far, it's been good, but we're always making changes, Army. It's part of our game.
And a master of the game is Bob Chandler. It appears that the moves that Bob was talking about appear to be working out quite nicely. In qualifying, Andy Brass, now in the R&D Wildfoot truck, was the quick qualifier with a pass of 5.45. Now, his teammate, Gene Patterson, in Bigfoot, was second quick with his pass at 5.56. And there's a look at Andy Brass's Wildfoot truck. And Paul Schaefer in the Monster Patrol is one of those new drivers that we were telling you about at the top of the show. He was taking on a familiar face we haven't seen on TNN for a while, Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher. Now, we're going to show you some round one action, and Gary shows this newcomer he hasn't lost a step.
Well, both Chevrolets left the line side by side, but Gary Porter's experience and time in the seat paid dividends as he showed the newcomer. Going to take a little bit more than what he's got to go to the next round of eliminations, Gary.
And Army, the last time we saw Mark Hall, he was in USA 1. Now he's campaigning a truck called the Executioner. And here in round one, he takes on Kirk Dabney in the Nightmare. And he pushes Dabney right to the limit.
Dabney's experience showed in a starting line, but Hall on the other end of the track became a real big player here. He literally pushed Dabney right to the nth degree for Dabney to go into that next round. Hall will be around before this year is over, Gary Lee.
Among the sea of changes we alluded to earlier, there is a new driver in the snakebite camp. A newcomer named Rick Rattler now wears the mask, and Army talked to him about it.
Well, Gary, in the past, when you saw this insignia and a man with the hood, you knew that Colt Cobra was in town with the snakebite truck. The snakebite truck is going to be here today. The hood's going to be here today. You might even see this, but there is a new driver, Rick Rattler. Rick, what are you doing in this truck?
Well, Colt's in the research and development, Army, and I'm here to prove a point. Colt knows that I can drive this truck just as good as he can, or maybe even a little better. And I'm here to rattle a few cages, and that's why they call me Rick Rattler.
Oh, I love that. The camp we call the snakebite. In round one action, Rattler in the near lane taking on Scott Stevens.
Rattler's snake-like reflexes got him up the start line first, but Stevens out of Woodlands, Texas / Indianapolis, Indiana, mile an hour him on the other end, Gary.
And a member of the old guard, Wayne Smozanic, taking on veteran David Morris. And as has been his custom, another wild ride for Wayne Smozanic.
Well, Smozanic literally got in the catch fence down in Naples, Florida. They've been trying to get the chassis ironed out. As you can tell, it is not back together 100%. As a matter of fact, on this run, the rear end kicked around on him, and if he had been on his toes, he'd have been in trouble, Gary.
Continuing on now with more round one action, Fred Schaefer, who qualified 8th, had to take on Gene Patterson. Remember, Gene now is in Bigfoot. He qualified number 2. Normally, this is a matchup you might see in the finals, but here, Fred goes home early.
No love lost. Ford versus Dodge. Look at this. Two bad boys going at each other. The boy in blue will be coming back in the next round, though. The red Dodge, he goes on the trailer, Gary.
Round 2 action coming up when we come back to Lima, Ohio.